Hi, Alex. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be with you.
Can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Definitely. My name's Alex. I am the owner of a business called Embracing Wild, and I am a Reiki master and energy healer.
So, what is Reiki?
Yeah, so Reiki is a Japanese healing technique. It essentially is a technique that addresses the physical body and the energetic body and the health of both and recognizes that they're connected to each other. So actually the word Reiki broken down, Rei is this concept of universal consciousness, and Ki is the Japanese word for like life force energy. So when we bring the two together, a Reiki practitioner essentially acts as a channel to higher consciousness, higher healing frequency. And if you literally imagine a tube coming down through the center of your body, a Reiki practitioner channels that energy down through the center of the body and essentially directs it through their hands, eyes, mouth, and feet to the client in front of them or at a distance.
And where does Reiki come from?
You know, Reiki is really interesting. There are many lineages of Reiki. I like to think of it in terms of like linguistics, where different words can have different accents or pronunciations. And Reiki is very similar, where there are many lineages and they all kind of have their own flavor. But a lot of what's taught in the United States is from a teacher called Sensei Usui. He is considered the father of, like the founding father essentially of Reiki, but Reiki existed long before Usui, but many of the lineages that were being practiced in Japan actually have gone extinct or aren't really practiced significantly because of World War II. And so Usui discovered his version of Reiki in the 1920s. And then the reason that we actually see Reiki in the United States significantly today was because there's another sensei, Sensei Takada, who was in Hawaii, who actually learned Reiki in Japan and then brought Reiki here. And because of her clinic in Hawaii, it's really the reason that we can trace back to why Reiki even exists in the United States today. So,
Wow.
yeah.
So, if someone participates in Reiki, what is that process like, and is it painful?
Definitely. So the process when you work specifically with me as a practitioner, I will hop in before our session and I will assess the body, both the physical body and the energetic body. I'll see where there are blocks or oversaturated areas of energy, any energetic ties that need to be addressed to traumatic events or parents or childhood things. And I take down all that information. And then when the client comes in, they typically have their area of focus or concern, and we marry the two ideas of what we see. And I think the biggest piece of the work that I do specifically is empowering my clients. I want them to have a better understanding of that physical and energetic body connection. And so I think it's really important to pass along that information in a way that makes them feel empowered. That being said, there can be somewhat uncomfortable side effects to Reiki. When we do energy work, you can actually feel me working, whether or not we're in person or at a distance. It typically feels like hot or cold sensations, sometimes gentle tingling, muscle twitches, heaviness, or extreme lightness of limbs. And what that's doing is I'm working on specific areas of the body, and the body's just responsive in the same way that we would say, you know, I'm feeling nervous or stressed and I feels like butterflies in my stomach, or I have anxiety and that's giving me shoulder tension. The body's also responsive to healing. So when we're moving some of those things, the body, you can feel it. And so what I like to tell clients at the end of sessions is it's not painful at all, but the body needs a way to release some of the things that we've moved. And so sometimes things like frequent urination, or you can feel really tired, really relax and just like, I need to lay down and rest and recover. But it's not anything that's painful per se.
So I know in talk therapy, as a therapist, I'm working hard, but also the client has to work hard. In Reiki, does the client also have to work hard, or is it more of a passive process?
That's a good question. So Reiki is lauded to be this energetic work that is very gentle. And one of the, or I guess two of the like boundaries within Reiki is that Reiki doesn't cause harm and can't go against a person's will. So it's actually not uncommon for my clients to fall asleep on the table during the actual energy work portion. So in terms of working hard, when you're in the energy work area, no, but you can take a nap as long as I have your permission to be there. The work, it happens regardless if you're awake or not. But I would say after, there is, you can do nothing with it, and it's not that it won't be effective or things like that, but I think that there's a really beautiful benefit to taking this increased level of consciousness and awareness to how your body is communicating with your spirit, or what blocks you might be prone to or susceptible to carrying, and putting in a little extra work, doing the journaling, doing the meditation, just again, even just taking conscious inventory of what comes up in the session. So either one, if you fall asleep and do nothing with it, that's okay, it's still going to work. But I think that there can be more benefits to throwing in work after the session.
And how often should people participate in Reiki? Is it every day, once a year? How often do you work with your clients?
Sure. So as a practitioner, I give myself Reiki every day.
Okay.
Yeah. But in terms of clients, I see clients kind of across the board. So I have some clients who I see, you know, once a week when they're working through and processing some high trauma things or going through major life transitions. And that's just typically for a period of time. I have some clients who just like to get tune-ups every couple months. I have some clients who are coming in for like a single thing, and I see them and they resurface when they have something else they need insight on, whether it's months or, you know, once a year or something like that. So it's definitely just dependent on the client's needs and areas that they'd like to focus on.
Yeah, it also sounds like it's dependent on their goals as well.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I've had the absolute pleasure of working with some really incredible clients who are sometimes processing things that they've been holding for a really long time. And healing is so often layered and not linear. And again, acting within Reiki's guidelines of not causing harm, sometimes we need to peel those layers back slowly and one at a time. And sometimes even with a client's goal, for instance, I had a client who came in who was struggling with her romantic relationship with her partner. And before we could even get to romantic relationship, we actually ended up having to grieve the loss of her father, because he was such a significant, emotional, like strong figure for her. And she didn't know how to access personal power to actually make the decision of moving forward or not with her relationship. So I think in terms of goals and things like that, we can come in with a goal and then all of a sudden realize, oh, you know, this is in front of even accessing that. So yeah, does that answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
And making space for the goals to be fluid as well.
Definitely, because I think we're not always consciously aware of how to get from A to B, and sometimes we the resources that we need are somewhere else. And so just again, marrying that mind body and recognizing that there are invisible energy and you know, cellular recall that we're holding to things that need to be addressed. And I think Reiki is this beautiful doorway in on either side.
Yeah. So you mentioned the mind body. Would you say that Reiki supports physical and mental health? And if so, how?
Definitely. So Reiki is this really beautiful thing because it's not actually like a religious technique or modality. And so in terms of the mind and body, I think there is a wide spectrum of how people interpret the mind and the body, and how that even incorporates into religious practice or spiritual belief systems. And so when you think of Reiki, think of it as more like chiropractic or acupuncture. It's this modality that addresses both without really narrowing who can use it.
Mhm.
So it is an excellent counterpart to things like talk therapy or somatic work, or even Pilates, like just physically accessing the body and releasing and strengthening. Reiki pairs with a lot of different other techniques and modalities.
Sounds like it. And is every Reiki practitioner the same, or is there a wide range of certifications and experience?
Definitely. So Reiki does not have a governing board or certification system. So there are practitioners who train and fall under these institutions that have basically moral and ethical credentials. And so what I would tell anyone looking to work with a Reiki practitioner is just ask these questions of your practitioner. What is your guideline or basis for morals and ethics? Because there is no governing board. Anyone can learn this modality. And I think it's really important to tap into your own intuition, get on the phone with your practitioner, hear their voice, hear the way that they talk about Reiki, and make sure that that's a good fit, because energy work is very intimate, and it is a vulnerable space to be in, to open yourself up to that. And while Reiki, again, doesn't cause harm, it's important to do this work with someone that you feel comfortable and safe with. So
yeah,
yeah,
that just like a talk therapist.
absolutely.
Yeah, you want to interview whoever you're working with and make sure that it's a good fit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else you think our audience should know about Reiki?
Um, you know, I think that in terms of healing, there is this loss of understanding a little bit of the connection between the mind and body, or the energetic body and the physical. And I think Reiki is this really beautiful bridge into teaching ourselves how to connect with both and how to heal both. And so I think this is a really safe and special place for someone to start if that's something that they'd like to explore or even understand more.
Yeah, really healing the whole person.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. And if you haven't yet subscribed to Mind and Body Pilates, please click on the logo below. And for more information about Alex and her practice, all of her information, her bio and her website and her Instagram is in the description section. And thank you so much for being here today, Alex.
Thank you for having me.